Hey, what's going on, guys? The Horror Man back with a wild eye review of Frankenstein's Hungry Dead. Frankenstein's Hungry Dead is a 2013 horror film, written and directed by Richard Griffin, and distributed by Wild Eye Releasing. The original title of the movie was Dr. Frankenstein's Wax Museum of the Hungry Dead. And that's because almost the entirety of the film is set inside a wax museum. The cool thing is, it was actually filmed in a real wax museum that I visit every year in Salem, Massachusetts. My wife and I have been going to this museum around Halloween time every year for as long as we can remember. So, as you can imagine, seeing it on screen as the setting for a horror flick was awesome. The movie is about a delinquent group of students who are given a choice by their teacher to either remain in detention for a month or go on a class trip with him to a wax museum. Clearly, they agree on the second option. Not long before that, another student had gone missing after sneaking into the wax museum. But none of the other students seemed too bothered by it, with the exception of one girl named Catherine. As the group gathers together in the museum, they are introduced to Dr. Charles Frank. He will be their tour guide as he discusses Alfred Hitchcock, Christopher Lee as Dracula, and other horror icons. One of the girls, named Ashley, tells her boyfriend Colton that she finds the wax museum to be arousing, and she convinces him to agree to sneak back in with her later that night. She continues by informing him she's always wanted to have sex in a wax museum. Of course, he doesn't say no to that, and the two of them sneak back in later that night. To their surprise, the rest of the delinquent students are also at the wax museum when they get there. They snuck in too, after hearing Ashley and Colton talk about it. And so the group decides to spend the night in the wax museum, filled with figures based on horror movie characters from throughout the years. The museum is so cool, especially for horror fans, which is why I go there every year. As the students split into different directions to have sex and mess around, they are each picked off one by one. They are not the only ones there late at night. Dr. Charles Frank is in his lab, and he's the descendant of the iconic Dr. Frankenstein. His experiments have come to life, and they're not just the walking dead, they're the hungry dead. Even with so many new bodies, Dr. Frank plans to use every part. This movie was a blast, and a big part of that was the location. With a setting like this, you almost don't need good acting or a good plot. Not to say that Frankenstein's Hungry Dead doesn't have those things. With that being said, the acting isn't great, but that's to be expected. It does have, however, a clever twist on a classic story. Frankenstein has been done many times before, but not quite like this. It definitely has a Reanimator vibe as well, especially since Dr. Frank has a talking head on his table. They bicker back and forth, and it's pretty hilarious. A lot about this movie is funny in fact, and it's meant to be. There is a lot of humorous dialogue, and the delivery of the dialogue is just as funny. There are some really well done practical gore effects, and the movie is sort of like a slasher film, but with zombies. That absolutely works for me, and I highly recommend this one, especially for the setting. So, have you seen Frankenstein's Hungry Dead? If so, what do you think of it? Comment below and let me know. And a big shout out to Wild Eye for releasing this one. Thanks for watching, guys. Be kind, subscribe.